I'm standing at the entranceway to Kilimanjaro National Park, home to the world's tallest freestanding mountain. This is going to be a challenge unlike any I've experienced before. We're going to be hiking the Machame route, which takes 7 days, 6 nights of camping, to reach one of the tallest mountains in the world. I'm Alice Ford, and this is World Heritage Adventures, Kilimanjaro.
Mount Kilimanjaro is located in northern Tanzania, 48 kilometers from Moshi, and covers an area of more than 1,600 square kilometers.
We're just at the starting point of the Machame route. Today we're going to be hiking 10 kilometers before we reach our first base camp, so we're all geared up and excited to get started.
Touted as every man's Everest, there are no advanced mountaineering skills required for people climbing Kilimanjaro.
There are 5 ecosystems that we'll be passing through on our way to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. Montane forest is the first one, and it's the perfect place to see monkeys hiding in the trees. Right now we're about halfway to our first base camp, and we're still in the montane forest here, and it's just absolutely beautiful. There's like thick moss hanging off all the trees, and it reminds me a lot of the Daintree forest in Australia and also the forest around Costa Rica. And it's really, really pretty. The forest here is full of a huge variety of plants and animals, and one of the endemic species here is nicknamed the elephant trunk. As you can see, it resembles an elephant trunk pretty well. And there's a whole horde of other plants and animals that live within the forest here. As the trees started to get shorter, we finally had a little view of the mountain right before we reached our first base camp at 10,000 feet. Made it to our first base camp. This is the Machame camp, and as you can see, there's lots of people up here for their first night on the mountain, and we can finally see the summit in the background, Uhuru. So I'm pretty excited. We're gonna get settled into camp life, eat some dinner, get warm, and then settle in for the night. Good morning, welcome to inside our tent. It's 6 a.m. and we are just repacking all of our stuff here before we have breakfast. And then we're gonna start on leg number 2. It poured like cats and dogs last night, like ridiculously crazy, and I thought we were gonna get washed away in our tent. But it's now stopped raining, and it looks like we're probably gonna have a dry day on the trail, which is great. And we're gonna head off to camp number 2 and get settled in there hopefully by 1 p.m. today. Good morning. We're super fancy, and we're making avocado toast in here.
People can climb Mount Kilimanjaro at almost any time of the year, but the best times are between June and October and December and mid-March to avoid the rainy season.
We're just about 90 minutes into day 2, and it's been kind of sprinkling on and off, and the trail has been super packed. But we're now in the second ecosystem here on the mountain, which is moorland. So the tall trees have given way to these small shrubs, and there's a lot more grasslands. We're going to continue on and try and get to camp number 2.
The moorland was full of colorful plants, and thanks to the rains, we passed dozens of waterfalls on our way to the Shira Plateau. There are actually 6 climbing routes up Kilimanjaro that differ in length, acclimatization, and difficulty. The Machame route, which is the one I'm hiking, is one of the most popular and takes you through some of the most beautiful scenery on the mountain. Today we hiked much slower, and one of the first words we learned in Swahili from our guides was pole pole, which means slowly, which we heard over and over again on our way up the mountain. Climbing Kilimanjaro is like walking from the equator to the North Pole in a week. It's full of a diverse amount of plants and animal species and 5 different ecosystems. So it's no surprise that it was voted as one of the 7 natural wonders of Africa, as well as being a national park and a World Heritage Site. Our women's group was climbing in honor of International Women's Day, which would be the day we reached the summit. and we all came here with a purpose.
As you can see behind me, the camp here is very busy. Mount Kilimanjaro is actually the easiest of the 7 summits, which are the 7 tallest mountains on every continent. And that means that a lot of people come here to try and conquer this mountain. It's estimated that between 30 and 40,000 people a year try to climb it. Less than 50% make it to the top.
With the weather rolling in, we spent the evening singing and dancing with our more than 20 staff. It's the morning of day 3 here at Ashira Camp, and as you can see, the rain has finally gone away. This morning is absolutely beautiful. You can actually see Mount Meru in the background here, which is one of Tanzania's other really popular mountains for trekking. Today we're going to be climbing up to 4,600 meters and then back down to about 3,500 meters to spend the night. So it's going to be a really big day for seeing how we do at the higher elevations to get ready for the rest of our trek. So we've just come over our first ridge here, and we can finally see Kibo Peak in the background, covered in snow. It's pretty beautiful, and it's definitely a lot more challenging today. I'm finding myself having a little bit of trouble breathing, but we just stopped for a quick snack and then we're gonna keep on trekking. Today was the first really challenging day, and I had to remind myself that I wasn't just hiking for myself. All of the women on this mountain decided to hike in honor of International Women's Day, the day we would be reaching the summit. And we all came here with a purpose. For me, I was hiking in the spirit of my father, a mountaineer who inspired my love for the outdoors.
Hi, I'm Deborah from New York City, and I came because I wanted a great challenge, and I thought it would be terrific to do it with another group of women. I've written about women's history. I'm a big fan of Eleanor Roosevelt, who was the greatest First Lady ever, and it seemed like a good way to celebrate my involvement with women's studies and women who've accomplished so much.
We made it! Made it to the Lava Tower camp at 4,600 meters. And I'm not gonna lie, that was really challenging. And I'm so thankful for our fantastic porters, because my porter Ali came and rescued my backpack from me about 800 meters from where we are right now, which was a huge, huge help.
Finished the slip and slide portion of this climb down to our camp, and I've never seen so many falls down the mountain. It was pretty hilarious, and I fell a few times myself, so you guys will have to just watch that in a few minutes.
One of the other really cool plants here in the moorland is this guy right here. This is called the Sonacchio Kilimanjaro, or as us Americans like to call it, the candelabra plant. And not only are these just a really unique plant for Kilimanjaro, but they have some really cool features that distinguish them from a lot of other plants that are able to survive at altitudes. When these green leaves die, they actually protect the plant, kind of giving it like a fur coat so that it can survive the harsh nights that exist here on the mountain. And the other thing is that they love water. So if you were ever somewhere and saw these plants, you would know that down underneath is a lot of water. So if you ever needed to find some, these plants are a great indication.
We're at Barranco Camp right now. This is the largest camp here on the mountain, and Today we hiked up to 4,600 meters and now we're back down at 3,900. I'm definitely feeling some of the symptoms of the altitude. I've definitely got a stomachache, a headache, and I'm really thirsty. So hoping I can get rehydrated here before we head out again tomorrow. We also actually lost one of our fellow ladies today. She had some symptoms yesterday, vomiting and some other stuff from the altitude, and unfortunately she had to turn back today. So we're down to 5 women, which is a sobering moment. So it's important to remember just how difficult this whole experience is and that not everyone gets to make it to the top. It's day 4 of 7 here at Barranco Camp, and as you can see, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's hard to even describe. Big thing we're going to be doing today is called the Barranco Wall, and it's a part where we kind of have to scramble, so it should be pretty interesting. Not even done with the wall yet, and it's kicking my butt, and everyone else's too.
Even though we struggled immensely getting up this wall, it was an incredible feat to watch the porters, who were often balancing bags on their heads, fronts, and backs, scramble up this section with ease.
This rock is called Kissing Rock. Thank you.
We made it to the top of the Barranco Wall, and it was really, really hard. All that extra weight in my backpack is definitely making a difference in my normal fitness level. But as you can see, we're totally socked in by fog here, so we're gonna have some snacks and then carry on. With the rain and fog, the volcanic landscape looked like another planet entirely. And after a difficult day, we jumped in celebration when we finally reached Barranco Camp for the night.
It's pretty much what every afternoon consists of. Rain. Nice and wet.
This year the rains have come a little bit earlier, and even though it's just the first week of March, we are getting a significant amount of rain every night. Nights at camp were often filled with the song and laughter of our more than 20 staff. They kept us warm, fed, and encouraged even during our hardest moments. And I don't think any of us would have made it as far as we had without them.
It's our last morning here on the mountain. Today we're going to hike about 5 kilometers and get to the real base camp for the summit and then head off tonight at midnight. As you can see, it's raining again. So the weather has not been much on our sides, but today's hike should be pretty short
and I'm pretty excited to trek to the actual summit of this mountain later on tonight. This region that we're in right here is part of the Alpine Desert, so there's going to be a lot of rocks and low shrubs on the trail today, but I'm going to get dried off, get a cup of coffee, and then head off.
Hi, I'm Molly, and I'm climbing Kilimanjaro because I'm always up for a challenge. I thought I'd take a break from marathon training and do something totally different. Turns out this is way harder than running a marathon or even training for one. So I'm looking forward to standing at the top with all my girls on International Women's Day.
All right, day 5. Here we go.
We just made it up this big hill and it was exhausting and really hot. You can finally see the fog cover mountain that we're going to be climbing in just a few hours. Kilimanjaro is actually made up of 3 volcanoes, and as you can tell from the landscape around here, there has been a lot of eruptions over the last couple centuries.
Hi there, my name is Sarah. I come from Sweden. The reason why I wanted to climb Kilimanjaro was because I wanted a challenge to see how it is to climb the highest mountain in Africa. And I also love nature, so I thought it would be very interesting to experience, to walk through 4 different climate zones.
Hi, I'm Victoria, I'm from Paris, and if you're French like me, you must know the song The Snow of the Kilimanjaro. So when I was a kid, I was listening to it and I gave myself a challenge to come and climb it one day. So tomorrow, hopefully, the challenge will be accomplished, and doing it on Women's Day, it's even better. So finger crossed, and we'll be up there tomorrow.
Just a few hours left before we head off to the summit. We're going to be getting up at 10 p.m. so we're going to tuck in for a few hours and then make the climb. It's going to be pretty challenging. We're going to be climbing in the dark for about 6 hours, so fingers crossed we make it.
Let's make it! We gotta make it! We gotta make it!
We are 3 hours into the hike and it's kicking my ass. Pretty much just want to lay down and cry in the snow. It's definitely really physically hard, but I think it's a lot more emotionally hard at this point. So we're taking a quick little break right now, and then we have a lot more hiking to do.
The next few hours were slow and challenging. The air grew thinner and the snow deeper. But after 7 hours, I finally reached Stella Point and some of the famous glaciers near the summit of Kilimanjaro. It was just a short extra half mile to the summit, and with the help of my guide, I walked pole pole to the roof of Africa.
Finally made it to the roof of Africa, and words can't even describe how challenging that was today. But I'm really glad to be here, and I wouldn't be here without my amazing guides and porters. But I can't come in here. You too. I wouldn't have made it without these guys. And I'm really thankful for you guys. You helped me conquer something truly spectacular.
As of 2018, more than 82% of the glacial ice has disappeared, which once covered the entire summit of Kilimanjaro. The true heroes on Kilimanjaro are the hundreds of porters and staff that go up and down the mountain tirelessly. After days of ascending, we spent just a few minutes at the summit and were soon on our descent of the world's tallest freestanding mountain. I did it. I climbed the tallest mountain in Africa and one of the 7 summits. It was probably one of the most challenging things I have ever done in my life.
I went through a range of emotions, from angry and sad and mad to
The actual physical of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro were just way more than what I expected, and really, really difficult. I wanted to turn around a lot of times, but I didn't, and I made it to the top. And I'm really, really excited that I was able to accomplish this goal.
Climbing to the roof of Africa has been one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences of my entire life. I hope you guys have enjoyed following along. And if you are planning on coming to visit Mount Kilimanjaro, make sure you do your research and pick a tour company that is not only certified with K-pop, but that uses sustainable practices like Eco Africa. Thanks again for watching. I'm Alice Ford. Never stop exploring.
Alese mama, kumbe mambo unaweza, ye ye ye. Alese mama, kumbe mambo unaweza, ya ya. Ena jode sanga.